Hello, hello, hello this evening. I hope that somebody's there. I know it's a little late in most parts of the country. I'm trying to get this lighting right. Um, yeah, my light is acting a little strange. I guess it's time to replace it. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope you have your bell, what is the little bell thing activated on your YouTube so that you can get me. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to share this out. This is impromptu and live, so it's not as polished. It's not as polished as I would like it to be. Yeah, and I don't have nobody here to help me, so this is what you get. But I had this on my heart, and I wanted to share it with you tonight. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me well? My light is flashing, so try to ignore that. My iPad is dead. This is just, it's dead, so I don't have the access to my iPad, so I have to go old school. But I hope everybody's doing good. Lisa's out for a second. She'll be coming back soon, breaking in, I'm sure, disturbing us. But there was a question that was asked of me when I was at Queenology, in Las Vegas, and the question was, what are the basic components? Boy, I wish I had my iPad. Reading this small writing is a challenge. What are the basic components that a man should have already in place before a woman considers him? Because, when you look in the book of Genesis, and I can already tell this is going to be too much of a challenge for me to try to find the text that I'm looking for and read it. So I'll reference the text. I don't remember all of the book, chapter, and verse, but you can use a concordance and go and search out whatever I might mention. But when you look in the book of Genesis, and God says, it's not good for the man to be alone. And then God creates, he says, we'll make him an helpmeet, and God creates the woman. So God created the woman to help the man. Now, and I need you to really hear that. God created the woman to help the man. So the woman is not to make the man, but the woman is to help the man. Because the man was what? Already made. Let me say that again. God did not make the woman to make the man. God created the woman to help the man. Because God had already made the man. But because the man was already made and he already had purpose, he needed a woman to help him. So it is ill-advised for a woman to attempt to make a man something that he's not already. And that is where I think I see what I'm looking for. That is where many women fall into the trap of toxic relationships, because you attempt to step into a man's life to make him something that God did not, God has not ordained, or God has not purposed him for. A woman cannot make a man. I'll be with you in just a second. Let me just make certain I verify this text I'm looking for. A woman is not to make a man. A woman is to help a man. So a man has to already have his purpose. He has to already have his form. He has to already have his shape. And then the woman is what? Anointed, made capable of helping the man. But you're fooling yourself if you think that you're going to make a man something that he's not already. And that's where a lot of women get in trouble. You take on this God complex, and rather than finding a man to help, and help indicates what? He's already doing something. He already knows what his mission is, what his vision is. And then God sends him a woman to fit into the scheme of whatever it is he's accomplishing or attempting to accomplish in life. And the woman is anointed to help him, to take whatever he's doing and to bring it to the next level. Man finds a wife, he obtains favor. But if he does not have the basic components in place, there's not a lot a woman can do for him, you know. And so often I think it boils down to the fact that too many women are women too often, should I say, look, you're skimming the surface. You know, you're skimming you say you're fishing for sharks, but you're skimming from the bank. You're on the bank of a river talking about you're fishing for shark. You cannot fish for shark unless you go out into deep waters, and you have to be able to, go deep. And so often when women are, searching for the right man, you're searching on the surface. You're searching for things like looks and swag and charisma, and you never really get to the true essence of the man, which boils down to what? His character. And so you keep coming up with minnows, you keep coming up with catfish, and you're wondering why is it? You say, I'm a woman that's qualified for shark, tarpon, but I keep coming up with these trout and these catfish. It's where you're fishing. You're not looking deep enough, and you're not getting beyond the for lack of a more sophisticated term, you're just not getting beyond the surface, and you keep getting exactly what you aim for. You aim for nothing, you end up with nothing. And if you aim for a little boy, you're going to always come up with a little boy. And so there's some basic things that you got to have, that a man has to have in place before a woman would even before a woman should consider him. Now, there's an interesting text, and it's found in 1 Samuel. It's weird that we're in a day and time now where it feels weird to actually open a physical Bible. And that is nuts. Everything's electronic now. But in 1 Samuel chapter 16, God is sending Samuel, the prophet, to go and to anoint David to be king. And listen to what the word says. It's starting at verse 3 of 1 Samuel 16. It says, and call Jesse to, let's go to verse 4. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? And he said, peaceably. I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. He sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. He's looking at the stature of Eliab. He was looking at his physical traits. He said, surely the Lord's anointed is before me. And watch verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. Now listen to this very carefully. You can learn a lot from this. God says this to Samuel, you're searching for the man that's anointed. But the mistake you're making is that you're looking on the stature, and you're looking at the physical appearance of the man, and you're concluding that this has to be the anointed of God because of the way he looks on the surface. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. Now, when you hear that and you think about that, from the perspective of how women choose men, and quite often how men choose the wrong women, it goes both ways. It boils down to the fact that we're kind of like Samuel. We look on the countenance and we look at the height, or we look at the stature of the person. The man is looking at the shape of the woman. The woman is looking at the height of the man, how broad his chest is, how big his muscles are, what kind of head of hair does he have, or if he has any. But look at here. He says, don't look on his height or his stature, his countenance, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And then Jesse called all of his other sons, and God refused them. And the one that God chose was a little boy by the name of David, who did not measure up in terms of height or stature to his brothers. But God was not looking for the externals of the man. God was looking on the heart of David. That's a lesson. That's a lesson for all of us, that we must be certain that we do not follow the natural human tendency to judge people based on their externals. Women especially have to be certain that you do not choose a man, conclude that this has to be the anointed of God for my life, based on how tall he is, how fine he is, whatever. But we have to begin to look like God looks, and that is, God does not look on the outward appearance, God looks on the heart. So let me see if I can remember. The young lady asked me this question at Queenology. I don't think it was during the Friday night Q&A. It was during the Saturday sessions, and just at some point she just asked this question. She said, well, what are some of the basic things a man should have before I would consider him? And I'm trying to remember them. But I remember number one was, and I'm writing as I think, I remember number one was, well, I didn't list them in this order then, but this is the way I'm listing them tonight. A man must have his own drive. A man that you would choose to submit your life to, he must have his own drive. If a man is without drive, if a man is without ambition, if a man is without motivation, as a woman, you cannot give it to him. What will come of that situation is frustration. You will become frustrated as a woman because you are not designed to give a grown man drive. You were designed to help a man who already knows why he exists. You were designed to step into a man's life who has his own drive and help him to facilitate it. If you're dealing with a man that you have to motivate, he lacks one of the fundamental qualities that any man must have to keep a woman satisfied, fulfilled, because you can fool yourself, you can talk yourself into that, but at some point, sooner than later, you're going to become very frustrated when you have to wake a man up, you have to wind a man up, pump a man up, constantly. Now, don't get me wrong. A woman does step into a man's life, and when he's down, his woman has the ability to motivate him and to lift him. But you are not designed to have to pick a man up, lift a man up, push a man, drive a man. A man has to have his own drive. He has to have his own vision. And if he does not have vision, he won't have drive. Where there is no vision, the people perish. In other words, when the Bible says the people perish, it means that they lose control. They're all over the place because they don't have a particular direction they're going to. So they're all over the highway. It's like a person is driving down a 5-lane highway and they're from one side to the other. They're just weaving from one side to the other. That's a dangerous person. That's an accident waiting to happen. You cannot give a man drive. And I know that there's some of you who believe that you can take a man who has no drive, who has no vision, and somehow you can talk to him and you can turn him into a visionary. The reality is, as a woman, as a queen, you need a man that has his own vision, understands where he's going, is already motivated. And then in that man's life, you can help him to facilitate what God has already put within him. But if a man doesn't have drive, if a man is lazy, and if a man is without direction, and if a man is without energy, how long do you think you're going to really be content with that? That may be cute to get through your little wedding and everything. You know, you want a wedding so bad, but you have to also understand that wedding does not equate to marriage. That's why you have so many divorces. You have all of these weddings, but you never have marriages. It's because there have to be some fundamental things that a dude got to have to keep a woman content, fulfilled, satisfied. How are you going to submit to a man that has no motivation? Especially if you're a motivated woman, if you're a driven woman, how are you going to submit your life to a man that has no motivation, no drive? Just because he's fine, how long do you think that's going to last? It's not going to last. Fine ain't going to last. Fine doesn't last. And even before the fine runs out, you're going to get tired of waking up to a man that is lethargic. You know, he wakes up every day and he has no direction, no clear direction, no energy, no motivation. You got to wind him up. You got to wake him up. You don't have to wake a grown man up. Grown man gets up on purpose. He may wake you up because he gets up hustling. Grown men wake up on purpose. You don't have to wake a grown man up. You don't have to just prime and pump a grown man. Fact about it, when you get a grown man, he'll be moving so fast, he'll wear you out. Like, man, gee, can you slow down, dude? Can you slow down? No, we got to get it done, babe. We got to get it done. I got to make this happen. I got to see that happen. I want to make this happen for you. I want to make this happen for the children. We got to get this done. I got to get this business moving. Not no man sitting around just drinking beer all day and what you got up today? You going to work? Yeah, I'm going to work. What you doing? I don't know, just chilling. A man has to have drive. Second thing, trying to remember these things. Second thing I believe a man has to have in place, and these are not in sequential order. For you to consider a man, he has to be a safe man. He has to be a safe man. And by that I mean he has to be tempered. He has to have the fruit of temperance on his life. What does that mean? That means you have to be able to see this man completely angry to the point of being enraged, and still be at the point, or still be in a place where as his woman, you never feel threatened or fearful. He has to have a temperament that he can even be angry with you and you never feel threatened or intimidated in his presence at all. If a man makes you afraid, he's not a man that you should spend time with. He's certainly not a man that you should dedicate your life to. He has to be a man that has self-control. You know, his language with you, his demeanor, you know, even the way he looks at you. If a man looks at you like, you know, I think I want to put hands on you. If a man talks crazy to you and is always apologizing, he's not the kind of man that you should even consider submitting your life to. He lacks the fundamental characteristics of, you know, what it takes to be a husband, because a husband is not one that terrorizes. A husband is one that brings security. He brings a sense of security that even when you're out of character, you know, he's not going to let your being out of character take him out of character. He's going to always be a man that you are safe with, that you feel safe with. You know? And you can't keep making excuses for a man that is belligerent, angry, and has issues. You just can't keep making excuses for that, because that turns into, you know, evening news. You know, if the first time a man shows you any form of aggression from him towards you, because even thugs in the street, you know, thugs in the street can go out in the street and fight and shoot and all that kind of stuff. But when they come home to a woman that they really love, that woman never feels threatened by that man. She feels many times, and there's some of y'all that can testify to this. You know, she may be talking to him about all the stuff he carries on the street, but when he comes home, she never feels threatened by that man. She feels secure in his hands. She feels like somebody bother her. He's subject to go off at any moment, you know, to make certain that he covers her. But your man should never be a source of intimidation or terror. And if you have a man that in the slightest bit makes you feel apprehensive or afraid, I told y'all she was coming in here, he ain't the one. He ain't the one. You can't change him. I know you. I can change him. I can change him. It ain't your job to change him. He can change, but it's not your job to change him. If he's going to change, it's going to take God's hand touching him to change him, and you don't need to be around for the process. You need to allow God to do whatever he's going to do with that man, and you need to put as much distance between you and that as possible. He doesn't qualify. Third thing you can't give a man, you cannot, I'm writing this as I go, give a man a backbone. See, it's cute to have a little man that that you can talk to any kind of way and run over because you saw your mama do that to your daddy. But that's going to become unattractive very soon. That's going to become unattractive very soon. You get a little weak, spineless man that you can just handle in any kind of way. And see, a grown man can check you without ever getting out of character. He's never going to raise his voice or get aggressive with you or make you feel afraid. But a grown man will tell you right now, that ain't going to work over here. You're not going to talk to me like that. Now, you may have talked to your last little boyfriends like that, but you're not going to talk to me like this. And that's just the way it's going to go now. You can fly off, break dishes, do whatever you want to do. I ain't hanging around for the drama, but you're not going to talk to me like this. I'm a grown man. In fact, I'm your man, and you're going to respect me like that, period. Now, you don't get that, you know, I'm going to take a ride and give you a minute to figure this out, but you cannot give a man a backbone. If you marry a man that you can run over, if you marry a man that you can just talk to any kind of way and he doesn't have any backbone and he's not going to establish, where the boundaries are and check you and tell you, hey, babe, don't talk to me like no child. I'm not a child. Don't talk to me like this, and don't handle me. See, because if he don't have a backbone with you, he's not gonna have a backbone in the street. He's not gonna have a backbone on the job. He's not gonna have a backbone with his family. He's just not gonna have a backbone. How you gonna have a man that you're gonna submit to that's weak in the spine? You can't give him a backbone. You can't do that. If he's a little weak man, he was more than likely raised that way. He probably saw his mama do that to his daddy, and he's been conditioned that way. And you may like a whole lot of different things about him, but as a grown woman, as a queen, another thing you can't give a man is you cannot give a man. I guess this. Oh, drop my top. I guess this is at the top of the list, actually. You can't give a man a relationship with God. You cannot give a man a relationship with God. If a man doesn't have, now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying a man has to be super spiritual. I'm not even saying a man has to be spiritually mature necessarily, but a man has to have a fundamental relationship with God, especially if your life is founded on the things and the principles of God and the Bible. How are you going to submit your life to a man that has no relationship with God? And then think that somehow, now it has happened, but it's not advised. Nobody should advise you to do this. You don't think that you're going to marry a man, submit your life to a man, and then think that you're going to force that man into a relationship with God after the fact. No, you cannot give a man a relationship with God. He doesn't necessarily have to be on your level, but he may not even go to church. But he has to have some level of God consciousness. If you're a woman of God, now if you're not a woman of God, well, y'all might be equally yoked, but he has to have some kind of God consciousness. He has to have some kind of God consciousness. If he's going to love you as Christ loved the church, how can he love you as Christ loved the church and he don't know Jesus? Now, I know we got all these different religions out here and all these different people with all this stuff, but as for me, Jesus does it for me. I wear my little, y'all see my little Star David, because I go to Israel a lot. I love Israel, and somebody bought this for me and I love it, but it's all about Jesus for me. Jesus does it for me. Me and my house is all about Jesus up in here. Now, I don't know what y'all do in yours. God bless you. But I couldn't be the head of that woman back there in that room back there if I didn't have a relationship with Jesus, because she loves Jesus. And if you love Jesus, how you going to submit your life to a man that don't know him? You can't give him that. That's something that should be almost a non-negotiable. You shouldn't even entertain a man that clearly indicates that he doesn't want anything to do with Jesus. I don't care how much money he makes. I don't care how fine he is. If his spiritual life is not intact, and if it does not synchronize itself with yours, how's he going to be your head? How's it going to be your head? What else must a man have? Oh, okay. Here's another good one. You cannot give a man self-control. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of women, many times, marry men that have serious weaknesses. Okay, let's just get straight to the main issue. Men that don't have control of their sex life, you constantly catching them cheating. And then you still run to the altar with them. You keep catching this man cheating on you, but then you still want to go through this wedding. As if, okay, I like the way, is it Devon Franklin, I think his name is? I like the way he said it in a certain interview about his book. He says, as if, this paper that we get at the altar is going to, and we sign that paper as though you signed that little marriage license and the preacher signed and he signed and the witnesses signed, and all of a sudden magic gonna happen. That the man that just cheated on you 2 months prior to the wedding, that all of a sudden now since we signed this paper, he ain't gonna cheat tomorrow. But okay, now watch this. This is something I teach. I believe with all of my heart that women miss the greatest opportunity to test the true character of a man during the dating process. And when I say that, this is what I mean. When you give in to a man's sexual pressure, y'all exclusive and all that, and he's telling you about, I just want you so bad and I can't control myself, and I don't want to cheat and all this, and I'm a man, I have needs. I mean, that's some nice little rhetoric that we as men have used to talk women down off of their standards and their principles and their values to get you to give in sexually. But the reality is this. Here's the reality. Oh, I wish I had that quote. If a man does not have enough self-control to wait for the woman he loves sexually, to have sex with her within the context of marriage, what makes you think, see, because that means that man is driven by lust. What makes you think that same lust, after he marries you and he sleeps with you every night and the spirit of familiarity sets in, what makes you think that same spirit of lust is not going to drive him to cheat? The greatest way to test a man's character, his self-control, his discipline, is for you as his woman to say, we're going to wait till we do this God's way. And if he can't do that, man, there was a quote that one of the sisters made. There was a statement one of the sisters made at Queenology, Las Vegas, last weekend. And it went something like this. I know I'm about to butcher it. It went something like this. Oh, man, I wish I had it at hand. It went something like this. If a man, if you're worth, as a woman, if you're worth a man having sex with, if you're worth a man having sex with, I don't have it, but I'm gonna try. If you're worth a man having sex with, you're worth marrying. If you're worth marrying, you're worth waiting on. If the man you're considering having sex with is not willing to wait, he's not worth having sex with. If he's not worth having sex with, he's not husband material. I butchered it, but you get the point. See, but now to test a man on this self-control thing means that you have to, as a woman, it means that you have to have control of yourself, which also means that many of you need to go on some fast, and you need to get control of your flesh, because your flesh is way out of control. That's just the truth. Everybody talk like it's just dudes out here that's turned up sexually, but these women, y'all turned up too. And you're trying to figure out how you're going to make out without this. You need to figure out how you're going to make out without this, because you are the most precious thing God made. And nobody's supposed to experience you outside of the context of what is divinely in order. And if you're out of control, you can't test the self-control of a man. You feel me? These are things that should be in place before you even consider a man. Um, Another thing you can't give a man, you can't give him a work ethic. If a man is just, doesn't want a job, set aside, drive. A brother just doesn't even want a basic job. He's satisfied just not working. He's satisfied just, government assistance or hustling nickels and dimes here to there. And he doesn't want a job. He won't keep a job, won't even try to get a job. You can't give a man a work ethic. You can marry a man and think, I'm gonna teach him. I'm gonna turn him into. He's gonna turn you into something. You know what he's gonna turn you into? He's gonna turn you into the man of the house, which you were not ordained to be. You're gonna be walking around the house. You're gonna have to be the mama. You're gonna have to be the wife. You're gonna have to be the man. You're gonna have to be the provider. You're gonna have to make the bacon, cook the bacon, clean the skillet. Can't give a man a work ethic. And, people say to me, I shouldn't say what I'm getting ready to say, but I'm going to say it because it's what I believe. Now, I'm not necessarily always right. I think I'm wrong a whole lot of times, but I'll figure it out when I meet God. He'll let me know where I was wrong. If I were a woman, ain't no way in the world I would even consider a man that wasn't concerned about making no money. I'm going to say it one more time. If I were a woman, I wouldn't consider a man that's not concerned about making money. What you think, Lee?
Amen.
Huh?
Amen. Amen.
You think I'm right about that?
Yeah, you're right.
You think I'm wrong?
You're right about it.
Now don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about a woman should be a gold digger, but the reality is that she shouldn't have to dig for it. He should put it on the table. That woman had my money from the moment she had my heart. She had the little money I had. Whenever I had a lot of money, she had that. She got, because the Bible says where a man's treasure is, there will his heart be also. If a man doesn't have a work ethic, if a man says he loves you and he wants to marry you and he doesn't have a work ethic, he won't even get off of his bottom to go to a job, that should tell you enough. What's going to happen to you if you can't work? What's going to happen to your children? You got a lazy man? Before God gave Adam Eve, he gave him a job, he gave him resources. He gave him a home, somewhere to bring the woman. No broke man supposed to have no sex with no woman. A broke man ain't supposed to have no sex. Now, it's a different story if a man, has been holding it down. He has issues. Sometimes brothers have injuries, stuff go on, things go wrong in life. You hold that brother down. I never will forget when Katrina hit and disrupted my whole life. My wife said to me, sitting in a hotel, we lived in a hotel for 2 months in Houston, Texas. My wife said to me, she said, babe, you've been holding us down. She said, I can go get a job until you figure this out. Man, that did wonders for me. Woman ought to do that. But just to have a man up in your house talking about this your husband, this your baby daddy, come on now. And he don't have a job. And you done walk down the aisle, married this man, sleeping up in the bed with a man that don't want to make no money. When one of your greatest needs as a woman is security. And the Bible says that money is a defense. And you got a man that you call your husband that is not concerned about making money. And he's satisfied with the status quo. He don't have no dreams of y'all going to the next level. And you think that's, so you dating this dude right now and he doesn't want a job and everywhere you go, he's spending your money and I almost said something, but I won't offend nobody. You naive enough to let this grown man that doesn't want a job spend your money, y'all sitting down there eating in restaurants and you swiping your card and you call this your man? Come on now. Let's have a father-daughter talk. When you see that a man doesn't want a job, you know that he doesn't fit into your future. Not unless you just a bum. Now, if you a bum, y'all might be equally yoked. But if you plan on going somewhere and you plan on providing a certain kind of lifestyle for your children, you got to have a man like Adam, a man that has his relationship right with God, a man that knows why he's here, a man that has resources, a man that can take care of you. You got to have that. You don't need no man just to have on your arm talking about he cute and all that. He just walking around with his chest poked out because he done worked out all day and don't have a dime in his pocket, credit bad, don't even have a job application. He don't even know what a job application look like because he got women just been taking care of him because he can make his chest jump. You know, like that Terry Crews dude, make one side jump and he just make his chest dance, and then y'all just go and pay for it. Come on now, man. Let me get off here because I'm about to go in. But there's certain things you cannot give a man. And you got to know that these things are in place before you would submit your life to a man. If a man's, okay, let me see. If a man, give a man character. Okay, watch this. You cannot give a man character. You cannot give a man character. If he's dishonest, if he's not a man of his word, if he's not loyal, you'll know that soon into the dating process. Why go further? Why go further? And let me shut it down with this. The big mistake you make as women when it comes down to choosing men that don't have the basics. See, a man got to have all of this stuff in place for you to be in a position where you can really help him. The biggest mistake you make as a woman when you consider a man that doesn't have the basic fundamental components of manhood is that you fail to understand that when you marry a man, watch this, even before that, when you sleep with a man, you run the risk of having that man's seed. And when you look at a man, and if his character is not to an extent that you can say, I'd love for my children or my sons more specifically to be like this dude. If you look at the man that you're dating now and you say, if I have a son by this dude, do I want my son to be exactly like his father? And if you come back with no, you might need to really reconsider what you're doing. Because all through the Old Testament, the Bible says, and this one was the son of that one, and he continued in the sins of his father. The character of a man usually shows up in the character of his sons. And it impacts, when a man lacks character, it impacts the stability of his daughters. This thing about choosing a man is serious, because if you're really looking at relationships from a biblical perspective, the Bible says that the man should be head over the woman. Doesn't mean that he's superior to the woman. I don't teach that, nor do I believe that. But I do believe that there's a position that the man holds. It's almost like the pilot in a plane. Who wants to fly on a plane with a drunk pilot? He's the captain of the ship. Whichever direction he brings this thing is the direction it's going. If he crashes it, guess what? Everybody on board is crashing. Why would you submit your life if you would not get on a plane with a drunk pilot? If you knew he was drunk, would you sit down and buckle up and take off? No, you would not. Why would you then continue in a relationship with a man that's clearly, his character is clearly flawed? and he's clearly inept in the ways of manhood. But yet you're considering surrendering and submitting yourself and your children, maybe your present children, but definitely your future children or the possible future children, to the oversight of a man that doesn't even have the power to oversee himself. So, no, a woman cannot make a man. She shouldn't try to make a man. No. My wife didn't have to come and make me. My wife came and she helped me. I knew where I was going. I knew who I was. You know, I had all of the components in place. I just needed a woman and the favor that a woman brings to help me pull it all together. When a woman has to make a man, she doesn't have a husband, she has a son. Women make sons, they don't make husbands. And so with that said, I can't think of nothing else. I don't even know if I got all the ones I said at the meeting. With that said, I hope that you guys and ladies got something out of this tonight. I just wanted to come and spend this time with you. You know, I think it's something that's you know, I think it needs to be discussed because so many women are, and the illustration I used, illustration that I use a lot rather is, you know, with the shoes. It's kind of like, you know, a pair of shoes. Only way you can call a pair of shoes is that the right shoe has to be whole, the left shoe has to be whole, and they have to coincide. They have to be of the same kind and even the same size in most cases. Now, if I bring you two shoes that are of the same kind and the same size, but one shoe is half put together and I match it next to another shoe that is complete and whole, that's still not a pair. That's a whole shoe with a half a shoe. So you have to make certain that a man is whole before you try to couple or pair yourself with that man. All right. With that said, there's Christina. God bless you, Christina. With that said, I'm done. I just wanted to talk with you all tonight. Now, let me make a few announcements. First announcement I want to make is that Queenology is coming to Philadelphia July 26th and 27th. And it is just about halfway sold out already. We just put it up a few days ago, and it's just about halfway sold out. God bless you, Philly. I love y'all. It's just about halfway sold out already. That's amazing to me. That is absolutely amazing to me. Let me also make this announcement. And just to be certain that people don't get confused, this is, what is the day's date, Lee? 23rd. This is April the 23rd, 2019. So if you're watching this at some other point in the future, you won't think I'm talking about that time. We're getting ready to have our major conference in the city of New Orleans, June 18th, 19th, and 20th. And a lot of major speakers, but within this conference, there's this track called SWIM, Sisters Winning in Ministry. And it's basically where it's a network of for women in ministry that I organized. And I basically I'm going to spend those days along with some other guest speakers pouring into women who are in ministry. Because so often in the church, women in ministry are forgotten about and are not nurtured. And so SWIM is a network where women in ministry come together, and I kind of cover and I pour whatever wisdom I have from anything that you might want to talk about. We'll deal with it along with some other fantastic speakers that are going to be a part of that track. But even if that's not your thing, we have a track for men, the Manhood Challenge for men and young boys. We have Girls of Destiny, where Lisa's going to take young girls certain ages, that she's going to pour the principles of Queenology into them on their level. We have the Leaders Lab for business people, leaders in ministry, wherever. The Preachers Lab for those of you who are preachers and want to sharpen your ability to preach. We're going to have the music track with Bishop Dave Hollister, who's going to talk about music from ministry to industry. Man, we're just going to have a lot. It's going to be a lot. We're going to have childcare services. It's going to be phenomenal. And registration for that is only $49 for regular registration. For VIP, it's just $99. You can go to focfi.org and you can register for that. I'd love to have you. Now, that's our biggest conference that we have every year. I'd love to have you in the city of New Orleans to spend those days with me, especially if you're a woman in ministry, a pastor, an evangelist, or whatever. You haven't found a network of people that really do it for you. I believe that swim is it. All right, anything else I need to talk about, Lee? All right, well, I think I'm done. Let me pray for you all, then I'm going to let you go. Father, I thank you for this time that you've allowed me to spend with the people of God. And now, Father, there are many that have to make some serious decisions and choices. God, I ask you now to just breathe wisdom into them. Give them the wisdom and the courage to make certain moves that they know they need to make. And God, I thank you now that all is well in Jesus' name. I love you all. Don't forget to stop by my website, rcblakes.com. Sign up for my mailing list. In fact, about it, when you sign up for the mailing list, there's a free download of a very popular book that's no longer in print. And it's called The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision. When you sign up for my mailing list, I don't know how long I'm going to leave that up there. You can download for free the book, The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision, but you got to sign up for the mailing list. I want you on my mailing list so you can know exactly what's going on and where I'm going to be and what's happening. Don't forget to pick up my books from Amazon. Queenology, now, a father-daughter talk has been out of stock on Amazon for the longest. Got that straight thing. It's back in stock. I think it's going to be on the site actually in about another 4 or 5 days. So those of you who've been asking what's going on with Amazon, that book moves. It's amazing how fast that book moves. Queenology and all of that, just, y'all know what to do. God bless you. I love you. I want you to have a great night and know that Lisa and I are praying for you. You're on top and you're going higher. God has more in store for you. God bless you. Until next time.